Hi guys, it's Bunch here, and today, here's another hard mode video because Stage 1 of the May World Championship qualifiers has just ended, and my team has moved on to the next stage with a 22-8 record. Along the way, we faced many of the top teams, and I was able to get a lot of triples against them. And throughout the competition, I actually finished with a 17 out of 25 hit rate, which if you look at the stats for the top attackers in the stage 1, I am number 15 in this list that takes into account of the number of attacks and the hit rate. So that's pretty cool. And I'll be showing y'all some of those attacks in this video. This is a base from Elevate, which is arguably amongst the top 3, definitely top 5 teams in the world right now. And at first glance, this definitely doesn't seem like one of the best bases that they've put out. It's in one of those toxic anti-2 Legends League bases. Very compact, double poison, damage everywhere. But luckily for me, I've devised a nice crack on this base with the dragons. Now, at first glance, you might want to use the fireball just because there's so much fireball value everywhere. Now, it works, but not always. Just because that even if you take out a lot of damage, there's still so much damage elsewhere in the base. So this is what I do with dragons on this base. I start the RC, and I just let her work. This base is pretty much symmetrical. All I need is some good RC value. I don't need the Town Hall. Some good RC value. She's just gonna go around the base. That's fine. She can follow this inner ring of defenses. And it's fine. And again, I have this crescent shape now. So I'm going to send the dragons on the side with more damage, and I'm going to send the queen and siege barracks on the side with less damage. I use the queen instead of the king again because I want to reach over the walls with the queen. So there's a lava hound too because there's this air defense near the entry. And look what I do to the pathy here. These dragons are going to path closely to the middle, so I don't have to worry about the pathing to the town hall. They're already in the middle here. I'm gonna have a good path to the town hall. Now I do have a poison because of this furnace. I didn't notice it until now actually. I dropped the poison definitely too late. There's an ice golem to tank for the back end. Unfortunately it gets sprung, but it still freezes up the new defense, so it still got some value. There were some rocket loons to snipe an air defense and a funnel over there. But as you can see, if you could get the dragons to the town hall like this, the base is always going to get wrecked. When you don't have to invest something like a blimp. Now, another good thing about those Yetis in the siege barracks is that you can use a blimp if you need, as sort of a backup option if you don't think the dragons can get to the town hall. But I was confident on this one, so it ended up being a crushed base. Here's a base from Pulse Esports, which is another fairly well-known team in the esports community. And I am using the dragons here because, once again, I can see a clear path for the RC to go to the core. And what I saw here was that she's going to go to this Archer Tower, Expo, Mortar, then this air defense. And then I can make all of these defenses at the bottom here invisible, and she'll go straight to this air sweeper in the core. So let's see how that played out. There she goes, but a Tesla pops up. And unfortunately, she goes around the Tesla for the Expo. So I have to make those defenses invisible for her to go to this air defense. And another invis. That one was planned to redirect, but she goes on the opposite side of the air sweeper. So as she takes out this fire spitter, I have to use another invis. And another one because she steps out of the invis. So that is some pretty inefficient spell usage there. I had to use 3 invis just to redirect her. But in the end, she does take out the entire core, which is good. And this air defense right here. The CC almost goes down. It would have been really nice if the RC just takes out the CC. But here I'm just funneling for the dragons. An archer, siege barracks to pull the ice golems. Now I am running the archer queen in this attack instead of the barbarian king with the siege barracks because I want her to reach over these walls. There were a lot of traps down here, which is why I had to pop the warden ability early. And this furnace is going to prove really annoying, just dealing constant damage to all my troops. And it's going to pull some of the dragons to the core, which sets off even more traps, so that's really unideal. I've seen some people take a poison with the dragons, but I really think in most cases that's not necessary. Another invis is just so important for the RC to get more value. Now the queen is doing well here. I had some rocket loose to take this air defense for a bit, but this back end was just super scary. There's just so much damage here. 2 heroes, 2 air targeting heroes. Minion Prince with the Phoenix is so important. The Phoenix on the Minion Prince. It just gets that extra value that's always super necessary. And there's only this Wizard Tower and Tessa left, which is why my force is able to get it done in the end. Another solid triple for our team. Here is another attack against one of the top teams in the world. Now, looking through all of the strategies, I decided Root Riders was the best bet because it seemed like there were some good areas for a short RC charge. But here's the problem. Look at this Giga Bomb here. This indicates that this left corner and this top corner is probably baited. And there wasn't really a good way to get the RC the path in a good manner if I enter from the side. So I decided to go for the log launcher approach. I'm going to switch to a log launcher right here. And I'm just going to use the RC to set up pathing for the heroes in log launcher to get more value. So as you can see here, I'm just using the RC to funnel. Nothing too big. Now, I wanted her to take this multi here, but something goes wrong here. Something goes wrong. The RC locks onto the king, and then I invis, but I make the multi invisible, so she goes for the air defense and just walks out of the base. So that was a pretty big error on my part, making the multi invisible. Now she can't get any more value. So, over here, I've got to adjust. I didn't get the RC value I was looking for. So, first of all, I take an archer and lure the CC out. There's a furnace right there. So I poison the furnace. It's always good to poison the furnace because the furnace always does so much more damage than you expect. So I have to send King to the multi with the log launcher. And because the log launcher is going to take damage, I just pop the King right away to take the damage off the log launcher. I want this log launcher to take the monolith at least. And this queen is just funneling all of them in. Skelly to distract the monolith. I have a Valk to take care of the ice golems. And here I send the Root Riders. Queen should join in to Root Riders and stay alive. There's some funneling going on at the top side. Not as much as I would have liked. I originally had the baby dragon to funnel out this wizard tower, but unfortunately I had to use it early because things didn't go to plan. Again, Overgrowth for the back and Fire Spitter, arguably a bit early, but that's only because I was more so concerned about getting the 2-star at this point. Everything's staying alive though. Look at the Sneezy pulling all the red bombs. That's why Sneezy is just the best pet for the Root Rider attacks. RC with the rocket shield is going to get a bit more value here, but as the overgrowth fades, she's going to die. I tried to save her with a freeze, but she doesn't get the fire spitter. Look at all these bombs. Look at all these bombs. So as my troops cruise through the rest of the base, my root riders are all going to die. But the queen, the mirror, and the giant are going to survive. The Sneezy tanks for the queen, and the Sneezy finishes off the bomb tower for a triple. Some very good adjustments here made on my part after the failed Spirit Walk. And the mirror and giant were able to clutch in the end. I think that it's really debatable what equipment is best for the queen right now, but I feel like if you're confident the queen can stay alive for a long time, then the mirror and giant are the best, just so you can have that extra punch for the back end. This is the moment y'all been waiting for. This is a base from Synchronic, which is, as you may know, one of the best teams in the world and known for being a menace on defense. They have some of the best base builders in the world, and they've won many wars just because of how good they are on defense. But on this base, I saw a potential weakness for the Dragons. The RC is going to have a clear path to the core once again and get the Town Hall and maybe even more. So I do send some Rocket Loons to funnel, and there's some Yetis. Now, I originally wanted the Yetis to take the mortar because I have some more Rocket Loons that I could use to maybe snipe this air defense. But that's not going to happen, but that's okay. We're going to focus on this RC charge for now, because that's the most important part. Unfortunately, there's some bombs early that killed a Fox. And I used the invis to redirect just to be safe, because I wasn't sure. But there's an Earthquake just to weaken up the Town Hall, and most importantly, disable these builder huts. I think that if you're charging the Town Hall, an Earthquake is super important to have, just to weaken it up a bit. So as the RC is getting more value here, you can see that a crescent shape has formed around the base. And a really solid approach after the RC charge here is to send the Key and Siege Barracks on the weaker side and the Dragons on the stronger side, because you're getting all the damage out early with the Dragons. And the Key and Siege Barracks are going to survive a long time, and they're going to converge in one corner, so there's no risk of time fails. If there were splash damage, like maybe a multi-inferno that the King couldn't reach, then maybe it'd be different. But the King can reach all of these buildings, which is why this approach is even more solid. So Rage and Warden ability for this early damage. And this Minion and Prince ability is gonna disable this entire back end once again. So my leftover Rocket Loons can just be used for tanking now. And they're gonna help take out the air defense quicker. King with the spiky ball is gonna get some more damage off, and look at this. It's an overkill. I have the Minion Prince alive, I have the King alive, the Warden alive, a few Dragons alive, Super Minions alive. That was just proper base identification right there. Proper execution. Proper reaction to anything unexpected happening with those Teslas and the Yetis. But that's how I was able to take down a base from one of the best teams in the world, known for their defensive ability. They weren't quite prepared for this approach, it seems, but I am super happy that I was able to deliver in this war. And we ended up getting the win as well, so very, very nice to see. So there y'all go. I hope that y'all enjoyed watching me break down those pro bases. I'm definitely going to need to step it up a bit next weekend in Stage 2, because these teams will undoubtedly break out new bases that are better and more rigorously tested, so I've definitely got to be a bit more creative. So hopefully I get some triples, and I'll see you in the next video.